Hello all, and welcome in to your Tier 2 round 7. We are here following the season break. You're joined by me, WHF, Arrow, and Ollie.
Bonjour, everybody.
And we're here in Cota, Texas, Austin, Texas, with 15 drivers. And we're live. We'll see who else is. Who's on a lap first here?
The Alfa Romeo of Wet Throne. First man out on track.
And we do have a couple drivers returning from last season. Max and RAF return from last season. They were here season 1 WHF and have not made an appearance until now. So great to have them back on the grid. But it will be really between Dynamic Duo, who I believe got his first win last time out, if I'm not mistaken.
He won in Monza. Very good race from him last. I was gonna say last week, but the week before.
And with that win, did take the lead of the championship ahead of GB Sanderson by a point now. So we're going to keep an eye on that battle. 6 rounds remaining in the season, and it'll be interesting to see who will win it. Will it be GB or Dynamic Duo, or will someone else either come into the fray, such as Dobo, sitting in P3 at the moment, who's been one of the most consistent drivers on the whole grid.
It is going to be Wet Throne come around the final corner now to start his lap. He will be the first man to set a representative time, unless he validates. As there he goes, up to turn 1. Let's see what we can do.
Yep. Through turn 1 he goes. Through this S's section, which in race trim I'm expecting to see a lot of penalties through this tough S's section. Very easy to get a track limit warning here, even for the best drivers. If you'll remember from the 2023 Grand Prix in real life, there was a whole rumour of Perez cutting the track around here like 36 times. And the only reason why he didn't get penalties is because apparently it was investigated too late.
Wet Throne's getting a lovely tow from the Mercedes, who that was spared fungus.
Yep, lovely tow.
So that will give him a little hand. From the looks of things, this is a pretty good lap so far. Very good through the S section. Very committed.
Now, I didn't look beforehand, but what kind of time should we be looking at, Ollie? Do you know, for Cota?
I'd say... I don't actually know. I'm going to guess and say maybe the 33, 32s. But, I mean, that's what Wet Throne can do. 34, 6. McLaren next up, I believe.
Invalid. It is Jamie across the line with a 26-7. RAF across the line next. I think what we're going to do for qualifying is just investigate. RAF goes quickest with a 33-7. Who should be across the line next? It will be Friggy, I believe, up to P3.
I believe
next is Dobo?
Yeah,
Dobo.
Yeah, Dobo. Ooh, good lap.
Quickest.
7/10.
Yep, 33-0 for
Pass
Dobo.
the next round. That'll be F1 Mallard, who is reserving once again. From... Yeah. As he does his 33-4. It's P2 for now.
A podium in Monza for Mallard last time out, but Josh goes quickest with a 32-9. has joined the season a bit later on, but has had very good pace in the races that he's attended so far.
As the Red Bulls go 4th and 5th, Zampa out of Charisma.
Yeah, the thing I love about Zampa and Charisma is not only has it been a while since they have raced with us and they have returned this season, it's been great to have them back, but their pace when they've returned has been so close together. It's funny because for those of you who have watched SSR throughout the years, their pace was never really that similar. But now that they've returned, they now have similar pace, and it's kind of weird to think about. Because I think Charisma was always better than Zampa from, at least when I was there. Whenever I raced SSR, Charisma was always the quicker driver. But now that they've both returned after their year off, it seems Zampa currently has the upper hand, although they're both equal on points this season. Both have 54 points in the Red Bulls each, and Zampa actually leads them on countback, I believe, because he got that podium last time out in Monza. Unfortunately, Charisma missed out on the podium due to that 5-second spin in the pit lane penalty that cost him, unfortunately. Meanwhile, we follow Dynamic Duo, who is out on their first lap here. Our championship leader.
Oh, who's that? This? I believe the next man round will be Friggy. He's invalid, so will be Dynamic Duo. Next man to finish his lap.
Yep, and we'll see where Dynamic Duo can put that Alpha Tower. We're keeping an eye on Dynamic Duo and GB, the two championship protagonists.
The correction in the final corner for Dynamic Duo. First P3.
P3, good lap there. Next across the line should be Dub Z to complete their lap.
Or is that going to be...
We do have a grid of 15 tonight. A lot of drivers unable to make it. Coda having internet issues. Several of the drivers have illnesses and such, so we wish them all the best. I know the Salmon has an illness which is called FIFA, which results in you breaking your controller. Which I have experience with, but Dub Z invalid out of the final corner. Meanwhile, Max in the Williams. First race back here in WHF. Welcome into the stream, or says that they don't have a broken controller. Oh, Max losing the rear out of the hairpin. Would have lost some time there. And up ahead of Max we can see some drivers weaving, so hopefully they don't block his lap. Hopefully they get out of the final sector. My audio is repeated. Is my audio repeating? Hello? Is my audio repeating? Alright. Welcome in FDC. I don't think my audio is repeating on stream, but I the little sound test. Meanwhile, we've moved down to GB after Max. Got blocked a little on their lap. I don't even know if that was a full block. We'll have to see what the stewards say about that after the race. There's a lot of drivers in Sector 3 as he was trying to complete the lap. GB going a little easy through there. Had to lift a little to make sure he didn't invalidate, but GB now across the line up to P2. 100th behind Joshy in the lead, very close up at the top here. Meanwhile, Dubsy, welcome back, Ollie. Have you ticked the box as well? So the stream can hear your lovely voice, but we're following Codzilla here, although Codzilla is pushing but very low in ERS. I think he's just practicing, to be honest, because Godzilla's one of our tier 1 reserves who's trying to learn some no ABS here in the race, which is very tough to get to grips with. I've been struggling with it the last couple of months trying to learn it, and it is no easy feat. Meanwhile, anyone else on a lap here? Charisma does improve by a 10th, jumps Zampa on P6 on the grid. My whole like telemetry kind of RAF, yeah, my telemetry, the whole table kind of jumped. It was kind of strange. Double just starting a lap. GB coming into the box. Codzilla coming around. Let's see, is Codzilla up on his time now? 1.4 down. Next across the line should be Wedthrone. Wedthrone is a 10th down on their time. So we'll see, can Wedthrone improve here? And we have a source from the paddock saying that it'll be dry for qualifying and the race. Yeah, this is one of my least favorite tracks for qualifying because the sun is always in like a lot of big braking zones where you would just not want it to be, especially in the final corner. Yeah, we'll remove the sun. Yeah, Jobo invalid. I'm not quite sure if he was up or not on his time there. Meanwhile, Spared Fungus 3/10 up out of Sector 2, crosses the line, does improve by nearly half a second, but only in P9, only jumped a position there. Ooh, very interesting. So, GB in a roundabout way says he's running higher wings. As Dubsy now out on a lap. He's got, I believe, the Mercedes of Spared Fungus here ahead of him. I wonder, is Spared Fungus gonna give him a tow down the back straight here? And we've got some good teammate action from the Mercedes, and Spared Fungus does seem to be towing the Mercedes of Dubsy along here. Yes, he just broke deep just to make sure Dubsy got the maximum. I hope that's not one of the game glitches where they just kind of lie. I hope that is a genuine purple middle sector. But we're going to treat the lap like it is purple. Oh, and Dub is pitting. Just set a lap, Dub. Oh my god. Dub annoys me sometimes how he just loves to not set laps in qualifying. Just do a lap. Stop starting from the back. Anyway, Jamie Dwyer crosses the line unless it's just on his out lap, I believe. I believe he's starting a lap. Joshy out on a lap here in the Aston Martin. Currently sits on pole. Could improve on his time. And let's see, can they improve any more? I think Dub's goal is always to get driver of the day. He just loves seeing the driver of the day. I believe he did get some in season 1, but I don't feel like in season 2 so far he's got any driver of the days. He has gained positions, but unfortunately yet to get a driver of the day this season, I believe. You know, I gotta be honest, I never pay attention to the driver of the day, so that's just like a lot of effort. Because I never even look at who the driver of the day is. I'm too busy ranting about something. Josh across the line, mega lap, 6/10 improvements, and 32.4 is gonna be a tough lap to beat. Who can put pressure on Josh? We will see. Charisma starting a lap. We've got RAF in behind starting a lap. Anyone else on a lap here? Ooh. Wedge thrown, almost blocked by Codzilla. Codzilla just about got it out of the way there. Wedge thrown now round the final corner. Can he improve in the Alfa Romeo? Crosses the line. Yeah, an RAF now invalid. See who's on a lap now. Dynamic Duo's going to have a tow here. Down the back straight from a Red Bull. Yep, that's the checkered flag. Well, the checkered flag's fallen. And Zampa is actually kind of leading Dynamic Duo on his lap here. Dynamic Duo following Zampa while Zampa's still on his lap here. I wonder is that dirty air affecting Dynamic Duo's lap here. And as they come up to the final corner, where can Zampa go? Where can Dynamic Duo go? Dynamic Duo does improve by a 10th. Zampa, I don't believe, improved. Next we've got as he crosses the line now. No improvement for Doba. I'm sure he'll be a bit frustrated by that earlier attempt. Meanwhile, GB goes very wide out of the penultimate corner using all of the curb. Somehow has escaped without it though. Did not improve. Mallard across the line next. Up to P3. Beautiful lap there from the Haas. And so close between... Yeah, very close here between P2 and 4. Meanwhile, Josh is 6/10 ahead. And I think that's more down to a lot of drivers here not getting their ideal lap times in. I think Josh, Dobo, or I mean GB and Dobo were up at points on their laps, but were not able to take advantage. But and Zampa himself says he was up 4/10 and it was invalid out of the final corner. So unfortunate there for Zampa, one of the many drivers there struggling. But it will be Josh on pole, followed by GB, followed by Mallard. I don't. Yeah, Zampa was on a lap, and also I don't feel like he really blocked at all there. There was other people who may have had an argument, but I don't believe there was much blocking going on there. We'll have a look at everyone. We'll have a quick look at the race tractor to see is there any actual incidents here. Anyone making any contact? You'd normally see a penalty if there was any contact, so I don't believe there was any. But there is your order. Josh on pole yet again. We'll get the additional point for pole. But unfortunately for Josh, I don't see him winning the championship here. Only has completed 2 races this season and is 61 points off the lead at this stage. Although there is still time for a comeback. Go at 9:30. Hopefully everyone knows not to ready up early. Well, just like his profile picture, he's just the old man who, you don't really let out of the house much because you're scared of what he will say to people. But anyway, we are here for 27 laps in COTA, is it right? It's between 26 and 28 for sure. If it's neither of those, then sue me. But anyway, we will have vaguely between 26 and 28 laps around the circuit here in Austin. And we've got 15 drivers and everything all to play for in the championship. Josh will lead us away from pole. GB P2 in the championship, P2 in qualifying. And his championship rival, Dynamic Duo, is down on the 3rd row of the grid in P5. So we will see, can Dynamic Duo close it all? P2, but he was 6/10 behind Josh on pole. You did mention before that Dobo at a point was 4/10 up in the first sector, so it just seemed like multiple drivers could not get their proper laps in. They did want, or I think a lot of them there were capable of 32s, but only Josh was the only driver to actually get inside the 32s. And had ended up doing a 32.4, a monster gap for pole. And thank the Lord, no one has rideed up early. Everyone knows the rules by now in round 7. You love to see it. But get your predictions in the chat. Who do you think is going to win here in round 7 of this 12-round calendar? And we will have the 5 lights on. And they're out. But taking a little while for the drivers to get going, and there's the Alpine of Dobo, really bad start for him. Meanwhile, Josh on the outside, GB on the inside, looking for the move here. As we see, two Alfa Romeos off in the background. Both Alfa Romeos off at turn 1. RAF, it's Jimmy Dwyer, and most of the drivers have gotten away clean here. Zampa struggling here through sector 1, but has made it through. Struggling on traction. Meanwhile, Josh leads us away, and we've got away mostly clean as there's a big send from RAF. Contact with Spared Fungus here. Meanwhile, there's an Alfa Romeo running in the background, and there's a big spin from Dub Z. Dub Z spun out of the hairpin, and that is a VSC out following the spin from Dub Z. Dub Z missing a front wing there already on lap 1. Yep, VSC out here on this 28 lap circuit, as Ali correctly predicted. I just remembered it did say 28 laps in the menu. I don't know how I've forgotten that already, but I have the memory of a tortoise. So we do have this VSC. Every driver listening, make sure you do not get a drive through. You will lose way more time than you'll gain here under this VSC. So I would intentionally lose time rather than losing way more time you would get from a drive through. But we will see when we go green flag racing. This will give an opportunity. Yeah, and the only drivers doing the alternate strategy is Max and Coldzilla. They've started on the hards here. Yep. A potential wing change as we've gone green flag racing as Mallard side by side with Dynamic Duo here. And green flag racing, and we've already seen the racing commence here with the Haas on the inside of the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri now round the outside of Mallard as they're going side by side here. We've got Charisma and Spared Fungus in behind as well. And Mega Racing onto this restart. Mallard now round the outside of Spared Fungus. Can he outbrake? The AlphaTauri goes for the switchback, struggling for traction. Meanwhile, Charisma waiting in the wings. GB already outside the DRS of Josh. Josh using those softs to his advantage. Meanwhile, we've had a spin, and it's RAF in the McLaren. Not a great start for the McLarens here. RAF around and has not lost too many places, though. Will get an opportunity to recover. But already as Zampa comes into the pits, does Zampa have wing damage here? He doesn't, unless the game has decided to not fix his wing damage, which I think is more likely. I feel like the game has not fixed his wing damage, so unfortunate for Zampa. But as we move on through, the gaps are really starting to form here. Josh really starting to extend his lead on those softs, which is interesting to see a driver really touch the softs. You don't really use the softs around Kota, I wouldn't think. This is more of a medium. Yeah, this is more of a medium hard. Charisma runs no line, and as Ali has mentioned, struggling for the braking points. Braking a bit too late here. Meanwhile, we see a big lockup from Mallard in the Haas. As Dynamic Duo trying to catch his championship rival of GB Sanderson, as Josh in the Aston Martin, 2 seconds in the lead. Josh is a good distance back in the championship, but a couple wins in a row could change that, and he could be on for another win here. as he sets the fastest lap on those soft tyres here in COTA. But the softs around COTA don't last that long, so is he going to try a two-stop, or is he going to try and stretch the softs as long as they will go before going on to the hards? We will see. Meanwhile, we have Dobo trying to recover from his poor start, really bogged down off the grid, and in P7 closing up the Spared Fungus, who you can see himself already struggling on those soft tyres, as Spared Fungus now 1.6 behind the train ahead. So Dobo sends it in, gets easily ahead. Spared Fungus, I don't think, realises where the detection point is, because I believe Dobo should still have the DRS. Yeah, he does. I think Spared Fungus was trying to play some DRS chicken and didn't realise that the DRS point was a lot. Yeah, good move there from the Haas. Gets through on the AlphaTauri. Does the AlphaTauri have the pace, though, to catch GB Sanderson? Can Mallard and Dynamic Duo work together to catch GB? Meanwhile, Charisma, who missed out on the podium last time out in Monza, could be on for a podium here in COTA. Sits P5 in this train behind Mallard and Dynamic Duo. And the battle for the podium will continue on with Mallard, Dynamic Duo, and Charisma. Meanwhile, down in P10, trying to recover from that spin is RAF. Mallard now, can he catch GB? Yep, the gap was at 1.7, it's now at 1.3. It seems Mallard is catching GB in the Ferrari. Meanwhile, Josh did extend his gap to 2.2 seconds, but it seems it's now stationary at that gap. The gap will start to come down over the next number of laps, as the mediums are probably the better race tyre than the softs. Meanwhile, Charisma's made a little error. He's now outside the DRS from Dynamic Duo and Mallard. As you can see now, GB 1.6 behind Josh. Josh has made a big error, and you can see he's already struggling on those soft tyres on lap 5 here. So those softs really don't last. So despite Mallard catching GB here, GB's... Yep, we've seen that little snap there. But despite Mallard catching GB, GB is still catching Josh. So a Constantina effect happening here, as Charisma trying to stay inside the DRS. As we have Spared Fungus still following Dobo along. Dobo trying to recover from that early bad start that he had. Meanwhile, Mallard now is inside the DRS. GB is now back down to 2.2. So it does seem GB's struggling in this tyre wear phase as well, as Mallard now firmly inside the DRS of the Ferrari driver. But can this pack work together to catch Josh out front? We will see. Yep, the high wings will definitely help GB as the tyre wear comes in. But also, I don't know why he'd really tell his competitors that he's running high wings, because then they know. Well, he told us, like, don't tell us what you're running, because then your competitors also know that you're running high wings and that you'll be a sitting duck in the straights. And we could see a move for P2 here down the back straight with Mallard but seems to be too far back at this stage to go for a move on the Ferrari, but he is closing to the Ferrari. Meanwhile, we do have to keep an eye on SDK Max and Coldzilla. Them two are close between each other, but they're going for the reverse strategy of the hards as Mallard picks up his first of the day, as I mentioned earlier in qualifying. Through that S's section, very easy to pick up pens. Meanwhile, we've a battle for P12 here. Wedthrone's got ahead of Dub Z and now looking for a move ahead of his teammate of Friggy. Friggy round the outside, goes wide, loses the rear, almost contact between him and Dub Z as well. Wedthrone gets through, Dub Z gets through. Friggy unfortunately loses 2 positions there, losing the rear out of turn 1. Meanwhile, the battle for P2 continues on. GB still trying to catch Josh here, but Josh still doing well on those softs. You would really expect any minute for the mediums to be the quicker tyre, but Josh is maintaining the gap, and I don't think the 2-stop is the quickest way around here, so maybe Josh trying to stretch the softs before going on to the hards. And Dynamic Duo picks up a time penalty, which may have eased GB's stress slightly. With both drivers behind, yes, they may be quick holding on to his DRS, but both of them have time penalties. So can GB keep the head down and catch after Josh? But the gap between Josh and GB seems to be going up rather than down, even though normally at lap 7 is around the cliff for the soft tyres when they really start to fall off. And we're yet to see that.
P2 here, Mallard is within 5/10, so this looks like it's going to be an easy pass with DRS.
Yep, a lot of straight line speed down the back straight here. And the Haas on the inside of the Ferrari gets through. Can the Haas of Mallard do anything to dent the pace of Josh on those softs? And has GB potentially picked the wrong setup? You have seen Dynamic Duo, Mallard and Charisma were in a train for a good while there, and once Mallard got ahead of Dynamic Duo, you started to see that Charisma fell out of that train, because Mallard seems to have more pace in the tank than Dynamic Duo had, as Dynamic Duo starting to struggle to even stay in the DRS train here between Mallard and GB, as GB now in P2, or GB in P3 looking for P2, as now you see the gap starting to form. You see Mallard having a bit more pace than Dynamic Duo and Charisma behind. They have fallen out of the DRS train, but can GB stay with Mallard, or can even get by Mallard here, as Wedthrone picks up a time penalty, falling out of the DRS from GB Sanderson. Meanwhile, down in P8 we see SDK Max inside the DRS of Spared Fungus now, where we're starting to see the hards come into their stride, as Spared Fungus started on the softs. Meanwhile, Friggy comes in for the stop. GB unable to get the move on Mallard. Max now down the straight with DRS on Spared Fungus, and not close enough to go for the move. But I did mention before, this is around the cliff, so you may start to see Max have a lot more pace in the tank than Spared Fungus here on these hard tyres already on lap 8. I think they'll stretch these softs as late as lap 12. I don't see them going any further than lap 12 realistically. As Max now on the rear of Spared Fungus. may get the move here with the power down out of the final corner. May get the move into turn 1 with the DRS, and Max now with the DRS. That's going to be a comfortable move, and this has also allowed Godzilla into this battle. So the drivers who start on the hards are starting to find their stride, and could be interesting to watch. As we follow along with the Ferrari. As the battle for P7 continues on, and GB's fallen a tiny bit back from Mallard, but has closed up now with the help of the DRS. Meanwhile, Godzilla looking on the back of Spared Fungus. And can he get a move on the Mercedes driver? Ollie, you still there? You're very quiet. You may need to reset your headset.
Are we good?
Yeah, much better now.
Oh, the gap has come down to Josh by a few tenths now. It's at 1.7.
Yeah, we're gonna really start to see
Josh's
the
softs have finally gone now.
Gonna really start to see the softs hit the cliff.
Yeah,
I was
surely
expecting
the
it to
softs
be
are
a
dead.
little early, or a little earlier, but as you've said, they should be dead by now.
The dynamic duo has dropped so far back from this two-car battle
Yeah.
between Mallard and GB. So, a bit unfortunate for dynamic duo there.
Yeah, once he fell out of the DRS, was not able to keep up the pace of Mallard leading this train of GB, and this is actually helping GB's
Josh
race
stays
because
out
he's,
again.
he's starting to catch Josh, and I believe Josh is going to try and leave this as late as possible.
As dynamic duo is first of our front runners to pits. As he goes on to another set of mediums.
Interesting. Maybe trying a
He's going to make
medium,
another
soft.
stop. Well, I thought that's going to be slower unless we have a. I mean, he must be banking on another safety car. Because, I mean, got a feeling that's not going to work.
Ollie, I have sent you a message in the admin chat. I'll look at it. Meanwhile, GB still following along Mallard as Mallard continues to catch Josh here. And I wonder, with the tyre wear, will GB have more confidence as the wear comes into these medium tyres? But both Mallard and GB closing in on Josh. As Mallard goes very wide, Josh comes in for his pit stop here on lap 12 as they head on to lap 13. Mallard will lead us away, but GB, I'm sure, is in a comfortable position because he knows Mallard has that time penalty. 4 track limits. Meanwhile, Godzilla following along Max here. And they've now inherited P3 and 4 as Josh comes out in P5. So has not lost a lot of positions here under the first round of pit stops. Has Josh doing a soft medium. So a very aggressive strategy for the Aston Martin driver. And we will see, can he pull it off as Max picks up his first time penalty. And Josh now on the rear of Godzilla may look for a move down the back straight. Meanwhile, Mallard moves into P2, as it will not let me switch to the offboard for some reason. But Dubsy picks up a time penalty. GB gets through on into P1. And I wonder when GB and Mallard will pit, and when they pit. We will keep an eye on that. Meanwhile, Josh now round the outside of Max. Can he get the move? Josh now on the inside. Lovely move from Josh as both Godzilla and Josh got through on Max there in the middle sector. Meanwhile, Josh now on these fresh mediums trying to look for a way through on the Ferrari of Godzilla, who's yet to box for the mediums. And Josh now with the DRS. It should be a comfortable move down the straight. Godzilla on the inside here, going defensive, but he is going to allow the Aston through into P3. Dubbo picks up a time penalty, and we will see Josh now head down the road. He's only 14 seconds now back from Mallard, and Mallard's had some sort of mistake because GB now down in, or GB now leading by 2.5. Mallard, or a little bird, or actually a little duck told us that Mallard had a snap on the rears, and that's why he's fallen back to 2.5 seconds behind GB, which is going to give GB an extra buffer that he needs to try and get the win here, as he's had a little snap of the rear as well, losing traction. GB knows his fight is between him and Josh in this race, and GB's got to pit soon for the hards, unless he's going to try and stay out for the softs, which is going to be a very bold strategy if he tries it. But he is staying out a bit longer, so maybe he is going to try it. Maybe GB is going to try the medium soft, which you don't really see too often. Meanwhile, Dynamic Duo on the inside.
Godzilla comes
Max.
into the pits.
Godzilla comes in for the mediums as Dynamic Duo on the inside of Max gets the move now into P4. And GB and Mallard both have stayed out as well with Max. I mean, Max still has the opportunity to go onto the mediums. Meanwhile, GB and Mallard at this point may be stretching to go to the softs, which is not what I was expecting. This track to me is only really a medium hard or a hard medium. So interesting to see how many drivers have been using the softs here. We did see Josh take advantage of the softs early on here. And can Mallard and GB maybe take advantage of them, unless they are going to go to the hards this lap? We will see as they're entering Sector 3 now. Meanwhile, we do have RAF following Spared Fungus. Spared Fungus does have the fresher mediums, but RAF, if he can hold on to the DRS here of Spared Fungus, his hards will be quicker at the end. And with the DRS, can the McLaren go for the move? He has a little look on the inside. Spared Fungus, though, breaks later into the corner and defends that P8 position from the McLaren.
Yeah, I did message you back, Arrow, about that. So
Right, let me read.
anyway, Josh is catching the top two at a rapid rate, so but they've got to pit soon, or else they're going to lose too much time. Be able to catch up later on in the race. So I'd say I'd see probably within a lap or two front two pitting. Probably to go onto a set of softs, but I mean it's going to
As
be a tough ask.
Godzilla
As
now on
Godzilla
the
picks up
mediums.
10.
Yep, has picked up the
3-second penalty.
yep, got there eventually. Sometimes my brain just lags, you know.
Oh, I know that feeling too well. As what is our
Um,
closest battle?
yeah, it's RAF and Spared Fungus at the moment, as Godzilla on the fresher mediums now coming into this battle. Meanwhile, GB comes in for the softs, as well as Mallard as well here. In for softs here on lap 17. And where will they exit will be important here, because they could be in some traffic. As GB exits now behind the Red Bull of Charisma. Mallard on the inside now. Big lockup as Dobo round the outside. In the hard, side by side. The Haas goes with Dobo. And it is a lovely move from Mallard to keep that position from Dobo. Did have a big lockup on those tyres though. Wouldn't have been nice. Meanwhile, RAF picks up a time penalty here.
Right, what is the gap from Sanderson to Josh? It is 11.3
And
in 11
GB now,
laps, so he's got to be going a second a lap on
yeah,
Josh.
he does have
So
the
it's going to be a tough
DRS
ask, I think.
on Charisma now. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. I've not really seen the medium soft pulled off here, but we will see.
Only time will tell.
Meanwhile, RAF and Spared Fungus battling here yet again for P7, which is all helping Godzilla get into this battle. Godzilla on the much fresher mediums, and they also have Max in behind on even fresher mediums, as RAF picks up another time penalty here. And Dobo still following along Mallard. Mallard not being able to put the pace down on those fresh softs just yet. And
GB is actually starting to get that gap down. It's now down to under 10 seconds, so
yep,
he is gaining.
GB.
So this is going to be close.
This could be a championship winning drive. He's 6/10 up on his fastest lap time so far in the race.
We'll have to hold our breath.
Sector 1.
At the moment, he is rapidly approaching Josh, so... Actually, have I got the right temperature on? Yes, I have, okay.
Meanwhile, we have Godzilla, Spared Fungus and RAF all battling over P7 here.
Oh, it's Cod nearly rear ends Spared Fungus there. Oh, as Raf gets a big wiggle on the rear. Might make a double move.
And Cod now on the inside. Will he make it 3 wide? Potentially will. And on the inside, Godzilla
Gets
now
it? Yes, he does.
gets ahead
Nice move.
of Spared Fungus and RAF.
Oh,
and RAF makes a big,
struggling.
big slide of the rear. Catches it beautifully.
SGB has set the fastest lap of the race, the 35.2. That is 8 tenths faster than what Josh has done previously, so mega lap from GB as
Meanwhile,
Mallard's understart from Charisma.
Mallard got ahead of Charisma there. As
Oh,
RAF is retired in the pits,
it's
I
in the pits.
believe. So RAF unhappy with all those track limit penalties. As we speak of the track limit penalties, Mallard picks up another. And GB now on the rear of his championship rival. And with the time penalty, this would be inevitable, but not only that, GB has the much better tyres here. With 5 laps fresher, as we've got the most horrific camera angles the game can provide for that overtake for GB. GB now 6.5 seconds down the road from Josh. Does he have the pace on those soft tyres to catch the Aston Martin driver?
What was the gap? It was 11.3 when he pitted a couple of laps ago, so he's gained nearly 5 seconds in I think like 2 or 3 laps. That's mad.
And
but the question is for GB is that will his tyres last until the end?
Can you check if the safety car is on by any chance? Well, there hasn't really been incidents, and we see Dynamic Duo now come in for the softs. He was doing the 2-stop, which was a strange start to see here. Okay. Just double checking. Oh well, we did have a VSC. We did have a VSC earlier. I do remember. But yeah, we did see. Currently, the only drivers without penalties at this stage are Josh, GB, and Zampa. Charisma did not have a penalty for quite some time there, but recently got one the lap before.
Sure.
And Zampa trying to go long on those hards. Go ahead.
I was just saying, he was flashing along the straight, so he's using all the battery to try and fend off GB, who's now sitting at 5.4 behind. So yeah.
Yeah, GB's got to use all the pace in the tank. He cannot hold off because the softs do fall off quickly around here unless he is the tyre whisperer. I feel like he just needs to use the softs to get inside the DRS, and then once he's inside the DRS, he can back off and protect the tyres.
Yeah.
But until then, meanwhile, we did see a swap of positions for Max and Spared Fungus there. I do believe Max got ahead. Dynamic Duo out on fresh softs here. We'll see what he can do as he goes wide off the track. But Dynamic Duo going for the 2-stop. Meanwhile, the remainder of the drivers going for the 1-stop. We see Charisma trying to pull off the 2-stop as well. I feel like that's the wrong move, but we will see.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the wrong move. I think he was going to get a P4, possibly if he'd stayed there.
Yeah, and now he's got to drop down to P9, and he's going to try and fight his way through on fresh softs. I mean, he will have good pace here, but I don't believe
anyway, to be honest. So
yeah, I don't believe he's going to get back up to where he was. I feel like he may have lost out to Dynamic Duo, but I think that would have been it. I think he may have been looking at a P5 worst scenario there. And we do have a lot of gaps formed here. No real battling as we see Dynamic Duo starting to catch Godzilla now.
let's just look at the gaps now between Josh and Sanson. The gap isn't coming down as substantially as it has.
Oh, and Zampa has picked up the time penalty. I had mentioned he was one of the drivers who had went without. But here's the thing, Zampa's pit quite late, so maybe Zampa and Charisma could be in for the fastest lap. I feel like Zampa, there was no real risk. He wasn't losing. I think he only lost 1 position there under his pit stop, whereas Charisma lost around 5 positions. So even if he does get the fastest lap, it wasn't really worth it to pit. And meanwhile, round the final corner, there's a big snap from Godzilla there. and Dynamic Duo's got through as Coldzilla now struggling for traction as Dynamic Duo through into P5, and Dynamic Duo showing real good pace here.
That's the gap up front now, 3.5. As GB can now see the green Aston Martin ahead of him. Can he do it? I mean, it's still 3.4 in 6 laps? Yeah, 6. So it's doable, but the only question is, will those softs take him to the end and give him the win? Oh, he's got it yellow. Oh, it's Josh! Josh
It's
spun!
Josh!
Where's
Unbelievable!
the wing's gone?
Josh has brought out the VSC and his front wing is completely off. This has gifted GB Sanderson the lead.
Wow. Okay, I was not expecting that.
Absolutely, I
Is
was
it
not expecting.
Yeah, he's gonna have to pit.
Josh, who was leading, I was expecting maybe there to be a battle for the lead, but I was not expecting Josh to make a big error that is potentially...
I mean, that's surely the win. Gone.
Not only the win, but could be the podium as well, because we do have a
lose
train
out to
of cars
Dover, I believe.
coming through, and he only has a set of fresh mediums here, and he may lose out all the way down to maybe even P7. Yeah, you're right, it is P7. Max does get ahead, and Josh exits as we go green flag racing.
Nope, too far behind.
And we've no drive-throughs at least. Oh my lord, Friggy's down in last with 24 seconds of penalties.
Oh lord.
I can't really say too much because the last time I raced Dakota I had 12 seconds. So I'm not much better, but
anyway, for Josh it's the recovery drive.
Yep. Dynamic Duo now
I believe
on
that's
the rear.
not a new set. That's a new set of mediums.
Well, on my screen it says 0 laps.
Oh, well, I'm just looking at his tyres and they don't look brand new. They look at least well worn. So I don't even know what's going on there. The visual glitch, possibly.
It says 0 laps on my screen, so... Oh, and there's contact between Dynamic Duo and Dobo here. Dynamic Duo and the AlphaTauri trying to get through. Oh, there's big contact.
Duo pushes him off.
Between side pods of the AlphaTauri and the Alpine here. Between Dynamic Duo and Dobo. Can Dynamic Duo limit the damage that GB will do if he wins here? By getting a P3 in this race. Meanwhile, we've Josh on the rear of Max. Josh going to get through into P6 following his spin, which completely ripped off the front wing of that Aston Martin. His Charisma's gone very deep, went for the complete wrong angle into turn 1 there, and Spared Fungus gets back through into P8. Charisma went
Josh picks up a penalty too.
Yep, Charisma went for a very tight line, but as Ollie mentioned, that is not going to help Josh here. The penalty situation would have helped Josh jump several positions, I'm sure.
Who's that? Oh, never mind, it's Bridgie.
Ghosted lapped car. But yeah, Josh now will benefit less now having that that time penalty. But at the same time though, if Josh now... Yeah, if Josh gets past Dobo, realistically, was he going to catch the Dynamic Duo? Let's see.
I mean, we'll have to find out. We've still got 4 laps left, so he's still got time, I think, to at least get a podium if he's still got the pace. Which I mean, he's shown that he has.
Yep, Dynamic Duo does have an extra time penalty over Josh, so I think Josh is already inside that threshold. So,
and
even if Josh can get...
Mallard also has 6 seconds too. So
If Josh can get ahead of Dobo here, I think he's realistically got the maximum that he can, because he'll be inside the 3 seconds that that he needs for dynamic
he
duo. But
massively outbrakes himself.
yeah,
Managed to get it
brakes
stopped though.
late, locks up, does get through on Dobo. But yeah, he's now inside the 3 second gap that needs to be of dynamic duo. But realistically, he's not going to catch Mallard, who is around 9 seconds up the road from dynamic duo. Make that 10. So I don't really see Josh. His maximum result will be a P3 here, so the podium is still on, but I'm sure Josh wanted the win here, wanted at least a P2 out of this race, and with that spin it unfortunately has cost him, but still does have the podium on the cards here.
As Zamper's pitting for a new set of softs, so I'm pretty sure he's going for the fastest lap.
Yep,
I mean, that's all
do
he can get
believe
now.
so.
Really, he's pretty much in last place out of all the cars that I was about to say aren't a lap down, but he's about to be lapped by Sanderson. So Zamper's only got 1 lap now to get fast lap, because will finish the race on lap 27, I believe.
Oh, and Josh massively losing the rear out of the final corner. Absolutely Tokyo drifting out of the final corner. Wow, well, that was that was beautiful. I even seen a replay on that in my other monitor. That was a beautiful drift that Josh did and saved. And now he's looking for the move on the AlphaTauri of dynamic duo. And Josh now with the DRS on the rear of the AlphaTauri as Wade Throne picks up another time penalty. Currently it's only GB Sanderson, our leader, who has escaped.
Was Josh going for the move around the outside of duo?
Penalties. Yep, and we're
gets the switch back. Ooh, loses the rear again.
Yeah, and again the stream didn't have a good view of that. But as Josh now with DRS can get the move on dynamic duo, but it's been struggling to get past so far. But now with the DRS, please controller, dynamic duo sends it on the inside. Oh, and Josh just has no way through there. Lovely defensive driving from dynamic duo. Meanwhile, Max closing on the rear of Codzilla in the Ferrari. It's Codzilla trying to defend here. Max picks up a time penalty, which I'm sure is not going to help. And Codzilla trying to defend into the hairpin.
Dynamic duo squeezes Josh. And he gets past. Can't do anything about the DRS.
Yep, Josh finally gets through on dynamic duo.
Like braking there from duo. I thought he was going to hit the back of him. As I don't want to jinx it, but I believe that is your race result, everyone. Actually, never mind. We've got Max on the back of Cod.
Yep, Max looking for the move on Codzilla.
GB has started his final lap. Oh, he's right behind us. Max is going to look for the move around the outside.
Max sends it around the
And
outside. Lovely
it's
move from the Williams. And Oliver, we'll leave the penalties up to mystery. We'll see who jumps around where.
I mean, Josh
Once
needs to be within
we-
3 seconds of Mallard to claim P2. But as it stands, it's currently 6.1, so unless Mallard has a huge mistake, then I don't think he'll manage to get P2. But I mean, P3 is a still decent result.
Meanwhile, Spared Fungus goes off into turn 1, gets ahead of Jimmy Dwyer, but I don't know why he went so far off track. He's now on fresh sauce here. And we also see Zampa following the Ferrari of GB. I wonder if Zampa going to be able to overtake. Oh wait, we've got Max and Godzilla here. Swapping for positions yet again. Max keeps it ahead, but we're going to move up to the front now with GB Sanderson, who will
Zampa
win
get the fastest lap though.
in Kota. Zampa has overtaken him, so he's got another chance to go for the fastest lap. But GB, a dominant win here in Kota. Followed by Mallard, followed by Josh, who does recover to the podium. Next in line was your championship leader, Dynamic Duo. GB has firmly snatched the...
Gets a 10-second penalty.
10-second time penalty. And is he out of fuel?
Oh, yeah. No, he's just not on throttle. He's letting everyone through, guessing. Which is a nice act of sportsmanship, but I mean, you might as well just finish the race.
Yep, confusion why he's doing that. But anyway, Jobo in P5, Charisma in P6, Max P7, Spared Fungus P9, Dub Z in P10. Does a quick little burnout for the Mercedes. Meanwhile, Godzilla, I think he's going to let
Wed Throne go through.
Wed Throne and Zampa through.
I mean, he just crossed the line, so Zampa's too far behind for that.
Zampa will go on board with him. Zampa's not getting the fastest lap here. He is.
Yeah, he's.
I was wondering, is he going to do some donuts? He's
Don't
just
give him
weaving.
ideas.
Well, there's a thing we used to do
do.
back in the SSR days. There was always someone who would do burnouts or would do donuts in Kota.
Well, let's see.
And
he
we're gonna
does.
see, Sampa's doing the SSR donuts in Kota, which is in memory of our friend Bubbly. For those of you who are unaware, former SSR legend, but Zampa now has pulled it into the pits for whatever reason. Nope.
He's got a penalty.
Okay, never mind. Well, no one could say he didn't deserve it, but Zampa finally crosses the line in P13. But an exciting race. Unfortunately, Josh could not convert on his pole. Had that big error resulting in that spin, losing his front wing, which essentially gifted GB the win. And what a dominant win it was for GB. 8 seconds up the road, no penalties, the only driver on the grid without penalties. And we did doubt it earlier on, saying GB running high wings, will he be a sitting duck in the straight? But with the tyre wear, we've seen how effective it was. Other drivers making errors. Meanwhile, GB was errorless and wins in Kota, takes the championship lead from Dynamic Duo. After missing Monza last time out, GB reclaims his throne in the Ferrari. You'll love to see it. Meanwhile, we've got Brandon Lee on the podium in the Aston, because of course we do. Anyway, GB also gets the fastest lap as well, so maximum points in the race for GB, in ahead of Dynamic Duo. Josh did get the pole fastest lap, We'll have a look through the race director here and then invite everyone into the party.
Yeah, we've already got GB in. Mal, I mean, no, we've got Mallard, haven't we? Need Josh.
Yeah, we'll get Josh in if we can. Why? Why? What did I do? uh. Well, if you want to take Ollie, you can, but please leave me out of it.
Josh can't join, he's got work.
Right. We wish Josh all the best at his trip to work. He did get the P3 in that great recovery drive following his spin, but I think we'll move on to Cod, who's decided to join the party. Cod, how'd that race go for you?
This is risky.
I won't swear. I'll keep it polite. You know, practice. All practice for me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. So whenever I can, I'll always reserve a bit more practice. So yeah, it was good. Yeah, I'm going to be very polite. I'm being very polite.
That is the idea of letting some Tier 1 drivers reserve, is that they can practice some less assists.
Yes.
So
yes, it felt comfortable. It felt comfortable. But yeah, a lot more improvement. Turning that back on tomorrow. So, you know, you can't punish me now. But yeah, it was good fun. Good fun.
Yeah. Regardless, you had good pace there, although at the end, just kind of just let everyone through.
Yeah, yes, you know, GB said, oh, I wonder what the team's thinking about that. But yeah, you know, I'm only there for practice at the end of the day. So I'm not really in any sort of fight at all. So I'll just let the guys who are full-time, you know, at least get some sort of reward.
All right. Well, we'll move on to Mallard. Mallard, if you're in, make sure you've ticked the box.
Yes, sir.
With that P2, how'd that race go for you, Mallard?
Honestly, pretty solid. Much like GB, I was also running fairly high wings. But I don't know what it was. When he put those softs on, he just took off. I couldn't keep up with him. So, enjoyed battling. It was good fun. But for the most part, then it was just kind of a race on my own, just managing gaps. Congratulations to GB, because I mean that softs run at the end was incredible, and unfortunate luck for Joshy as well with that spin. So.
Yep, it was unfortunate. Unfortunately, we don't have Josh in the party with us, but still.
Oh shit, my phone's ringing.
All right, we'll pause the interviews for Ollie's phone call here. Right, we'll wait for Ollie to get back. Anyway, we'll move on to the man of the hour. Had lost the championship lead last time out because he was busy doing whatever. Missed Monza last week, but has reclaimed his throne this time out. GB, how'd that race go for you?
That felt good. I'm kind of gutted for Josh. Because I would have liked to have seen how that race would have ended had he not. I don't know what he did. I'm assuming he just lost the rear end. Because I was slowly catching him. I honestly don't think I would have caught him unless he got a penalty, which I think he did late on. But yeah, it was a fun race, that one. The softs at the end lasted a lot better than I thought they would. And I was thankful that I was able to pull away from Mallard because I was not wanting to battle for position too much. But no, we worked quite well together, I think, me and him. When he sort of didn't put up too much of a fight when he came past on the mediums, and then we just used each other to pull away from Ravage behind and start closing in on Josh a little bit. But yeah, a bit of good fortune, I guess, with Josh spinning it potentially. Uh, maybe maybe the good karma came back from Hungary or something tonight. I don't know.
Well, nevertheless, of what other drivers did, all you can do is worry about your own race, and you did perfectly. You did get the fastest lap to go along with your win, and you did capitalise when others made mistakes. For me, it was a surprise to see a soft medium versus a medium soft strategy for the win. I was expecting, medium hard or hard medium, but both of you were able to make it work to some degree, and it's another win for GB in the trophy cabinet, and he'll hope to extend that championship lead next time out as we head to
All right, I'm back.
Brazil, which is one of the best tracks in the calendar. I think there's no real argument there. Brazil is one of the best tracks, hands down. So will be very exciting, and I hope to see you there all in the stream. We'll be back next week for Brazil, but tomorrow we will be heading to Qatar for Tier 1, so stay tuned for that as well. But I think that's been it from me and Ollie here in the stream. We'll find someone to raid on our way out, and make sure on your way out as well to drop a follow and also give a follow to whoever it is we raid. Let's see who's live at this stage. Let us raid. We'll raid what now? Sure. But anyway, thank you all for watching. We'll be back tomorrow, Tier 1 Qatar, where you'll see Arrow pull off his first win. And I hope you all are looking forward to that. But anyway, thank you all for watching, and goodbye.